I would recommend this if you have space for it. You do have to plug it in, alternating current, super light. And this doesn't dry, this is just a spin dry. It does have this inlet hose, so not stupid loud. So turn it to drain. Just give it a little rinse. This holds way more than this will hold. That's about all I want to put in here. So it's just barely damp. To repeat this process. But as you can see, it cleaned up everything it could. See, that's quite a bit of stuff. About 45 minutes to do all that. The stuff is 90% dry. Hey dude, these videos are in a little bit of random order. So is my life. So here you go. Here's an option for off-grid washing. When I say off-grid, I don't mean totally off-grid, only because you do have to plug it in to alternating current, which you may or may not have. I know you're planning on having an inverter put in here. Right now I'm obviously at a household. The nice thing about this is super light, and even though I personally wouldn't have a setup to keep something this size in the actual home, you could just have it stored somewhere, pick it up, put it outside. Here's the washer. I'm just kind of using this to store some stuff. It's probably a good idea to wipe it out. It does seem to get dirty after you do a few loads. I've never paid that much attention to a regular washing machine. I would imagine it might not be that different. And then this doesn't dry. This is just a spin dry. It's pretty effective. It actually makes a world of difference. A couple downsides is that in order to fill it with water, it takes a long time. You got to get like a bucket and dump it in there. It does have this inlet hose right here. So if you were in a situation, you could have this permanently hooked up. But the thing is it's not like a regular washing machine where you can just turn it on and not worry about it. You do have to monitor it. So you have to sit there, and it's kind of tedious waiting for it to fill up. You don't want to walk away on it, especially if you're like me and you tend to forget about stuff. So I'm just using this big ass awkward tube, and then with like a hose, this wouldn't be that big of a deal, but the flow on this is super low. Another thing to consider when you're filling this up, this is the drain tube. There's nothing that's holding the water in, so if you fill it up, it's just going to dump right out of this tube. So you take it to a higher line. I'll show you in a bit how it drains. It actually has a water pump, but while you're filling it up, you have it here. So I got some laundry, but you're gonna have to trust me, this is some super stinky stuff. This is just camping soap. You know, one of these foamer things is great because the camping soap is super concentrated and you end up using it fast and you use too much of it. So with this, it just adds a little bit of foam in there. I have no idea how much of this I should use, but when I use 2 squirts, it seems to work pretty well. Alright, so like I said, filling this thing up with water is super boring. I just used this pipe and hooked it to the sink. It's not even all the way full, but I think that might be the majority of the water I need. It's good just to throw in the small stuff, the t-shirts, the boxers, the socks. Good thing to note there, we've got that little thing there, we have a bunch of dirt here. So let's see if the washing machine can clean that stuff up. Alright, so surprisingly it fit every last bit of all the stuff I had on the counter, and there's probably more room that I could put stuff in. But as you'll see in a minute, it's a pain in the ass when you do big loads. So I usually haven't put it much past the 6 minutes, but just for the sake of the test, we'll put it to the full 15 minutes. So not stupid loud. I mean, it does obviously make some noise, but if you were camping and wanted to have this running, I don't think that anyone would complain. With water to get the soap out and run it again, I just don't have time for that, and it's such a pain to fill this with water that I don't do that. What I'm going to do today though is I'm just going to take it out, rinse it off with the sink. It's kind of hard to do in film, but these are pretty sopping wet. Just give it a little rinse. This sink, by the way, empties straight out into the orchard, so it's really important that I use that camping soap. I don't have to worry about where this stuff is going. Okay, so as you can see, this holds way more than this will hold. That's about all I want to put in here. Now, this is just going to spin it dry, but it's going to make a big difference. Here we go. You don't need 5 minutes. 3 minutes is probably good. So this is loud, and it's not always that loud, but in this case, something about the weight distribution it doesn't like. So sometimes you have to play with it to try to get it to be happy with the weight. But sometimes it's not even worth it, it's just going to be loud. And here, that's where all the water's going. Okay, so after about 2 minutes, I noticed that there was really no more water coming out of this, and so I just took them out. I think 5 minutes spin timer would be good if you're using like a towel or something like that. So they come out, and today's a hot day. I could probably just put this on. It's just barely damp. It would probably be dry within 20-30 minutes if I was wearing it. This looks perfectly clean. Like I said, it definitely smelled before. Passes the smell test. To repeat this process probably 2 more times, which, like I said, is annoying. Why don't you just combine this and this, which apparently they do in other units. So I don't even remember exactly where those stains were before, but as you can see, it cleaned up everything it could. It's got a lot of lint and stuff. That has more to do with my job than it does with any washing machine, so I got to clean that up with a lint roller. But I feel like this is good enough to wear to work once it's dry. Remember all the dirt on the pants. I don't know if the lighting's the best, but cleaned it all up. Okay, so I'm done with washing everything. You can see that's quite a bit of stuff. So that probably took me about 45 minutes to do all that. The stuff is 90% dry. It's pretty warm today. If I really wanted to, I could throw this on and probably go somewhere. I would recommend this if you have space for it. I don't particularly have space for something this size. Just this is more of a proof of concept. Like I said, I want to get something that's the same idea, but it's going to cut it in half, so take up half as much space, and then I think I could actually fit it in my RV. I'm going to show you drying in the next video I do.